Okie dokie then. Welp. Another day in the snow. Another day we gotta talk about Marvel Future Revolution. Let's get after it. What are we gonna talk about today? I don't know. I better take all this stuff off and come and let you know. Everybody, welcome back. We're doing another Marvel Future Revolution video. In this one, we are going to be talking about what is the best gear sets for each character. The reason that this is important is because one, squad battles are coming at some point. Two, because a lot of people are switching characters and they might not know where to put some gear. I know for this conversation started where I was like, man, I've got, you know, 3 5-star pieces of Sakaar and a 4-star. I don't know who should I put this on? I have Widow and I was like, I think Spider-Man's pretty good. I don't know. Like someone's like, well, it's in Star-Lord. And I'm like, I don't know. And then my buddy Half was asking about, I think some Steampunk or Eye of Osiris, where to put that. And we just started talking. I was like, you know what? Spreadsheet time. So I'm going to go through a spreadsheet. I talked to some, I think pretty good players in the game. This is still in a little bit of development. So I do want to say it's done. But I do want to say to anybody watching this, I really would love to hear your feedback on it because I think that it could evolve into something that's a really good tool for everybody just as a quick reference. So I might infographic this, we'll see, but I at least want to show it on screen and see if it'll helpful to you guys. I'll walk through it a little bit. If you're new to the channel, check out the Discord link in the description below. Hammer down on like buttons, click notification bells, subscribe, all that stuff. And let's go check out what we put together.
Bring me WolverThor!
All right, spreadsheet, baby. Anybody who is somewhat new to me, I guess, this is one of the things I did in one of my other games. I don't love doing these. It's just where my brain works. I sort of like naturally fall into them. I'd prefer just to shoot the breeze, talk content, find stuff. Because a lot of times spreadsheets can grow and take a lot of work, but this was one of those things where I just felt that I really needed to do, because there's a lot of questions. So what I've got here is, I talked to a few players, Captain America, talked to Legit. I think I talked to one other as well. Captain Marvel, Night Eye, one of the best. Black Widows, talked to a few. Solway, Saki, Mags, myself. I threw obviously it's my natural opinion I'm going to throw in there. Doctor Strange, talked to Jopan. I don't think I ended up talking to Rome. Talked to a couple others in my alliance. Shout out to Rav, Busy, Yags, all those guys who know that stuff. Iron Man, talked to Halfsen, Dirk. Magic, talked to Callista, Rob. Spider-Man, talked to Wreckage. Star-Lord, I talked to Seawild. Got a confirmation from Newfin after looking at Seawild's a good player. And then Storm, I talked to Claire and Hadari a bit. So if you just have any ideas of, and obviously some common knowledge in the game, and we talked about this on voice just amongst a bunch of us. So, but I did want to give special shout outs to those guys. So the rankings I've got here, you can see, I just sort of did a real generic God tier, really good, solid, maybe use it, and then like just straight up don't do this. And the way I started this is I went into the game. And you can see, like, I listed each gear, like regional type gear set or special set, and I put what their abilities were on each one of these. And now I will say that as a Black Widow main, and you guys are probably all similar, is like, you're not going to know what each one of these means per character. And that's why we sort of fell into this discussion, because you main somebody and you might know a little bit about another character or two, but you're not going to know a ton. So that's where I was just kind of like, I need to get something going here. So I've put all of these things in here. What you'll notice for the regional sets, what typically happens for these is you'll get two that they're the exact same, but they'll have a stat difference. Now, Captain America is slightly different than the other ones. It looks like even Captain Marvel as well. No, yeah. Nope, no, all right, yeah. So it looks like Captain America is one that's got, actually 4 different ones, but whatever. But most of them have like 2 of the same, like Captain Marvel's Captain Cosmic Energy, And then the stat that you get is just different. One's defense pierce, one's crit rate. They got a superhuman and a superhuman. One's crit rate, one's defense pierce. And then they've got the other one. New Stark City across the board is ultimate all the way. Savage Shadowlands across the board is always a supervillain damage. And then it picks a particular, a skill set that it actually brings up. Pretty much across the board, Savage Shadowlands is probably the worst. You could maybe say it's okay for PvE, and then that way you don't use supervillain damage cards as much. You throw a total damage card in there instead. Okay, maybe that's a decent argument I could see. That maybe evolves at some point. I don't know, but that one's sort of left behind at the moment. So went through, like I said, inputted each one of those for every class. And again, like I said, Doctor Strange, there's 2 Mystics and there's 2 Illusion Magics. And you can see his stats at the end of these are pretty disappointing, which is one of the reasons that people are sort of upset. And then Captain America's HP and attack. Captain Marvel's defense, pierce, and crit rate. Black Widow attack and crit damage, which is pretty solid. You got Doctor Strange we talked about. Iron Man defense, pierce, and crit rate, both really good. Magic, crit rate, and defense penetration, both pretty good. Spider-Man defense and dodge. Star-Lord, we got crit rate and defense pierce. Now, Star-Lord, I will say, he's one that is very interesting because what you find with him is you've got 3 elements that you can apply, and it's flame, shock, and chill. And the only one that gets 2 is shock. So you get the shock, you get a crit rate or a defense pen, and then flame, you get crit rate, and chill, you get crit rate. Okay. I mean, that's one that's slightly different. And then, obviously for the specials, each one gets something. And then for Storm, you get some crit rate and DP pen as well. So like I said, the specials do their thing. So we're going to go through each character here. If you want to just stop and, I don't know how many minutes I'm into this, take a snapshot. Cool. Thanks for coming by. You want the rest of them? There's a snapshot. Cool. Thanks for coming by. But it'd be lovely if you still let the video play for YouTube algorithm reasons, and I'd appreciate that. So we got Captain America. Up first, we'll look at specials. Steampunk. It was God tier. Rise of the East was really good. Osiris, not so much. And he really didn't have a lot of regionals that were good for him. It was pretty much just Dark Domain, and Midgardia wasn't bad. Savage Shadowlands was a maybe for again. It was like Captain Marvel. Again, nothing that was considered God tier per se. Dark Domain, Midgardia, and Rise of the East were all really good. The Xanderth and Steampunk were solid for PvP purposes. New Stark City was one of the few that was like actually a reasonable thing, but I put meh on it. The Black Widow one should probably be a meh as well, but I somehow landed on maybe. I'm not sure why. So speaking of Black Widow, that's where we kind of are at. So Eyes of Osiris and Rise of these are both really good. Didn't put God tier on either of them. There was quite a bit of debate potentially on that. And it really comes down to the fact that espionage devices, that kind of got a nerf with the specialization. So anything that was a specialization device, which used to be, I think, Hydra as well, it kind of got, and Sakaar, sort of took a step down. So it's really Midgardia as far as the regionals go. Eyes of Osiris, Rise of the East. Steampunk was mad. Dark Domain, close. Now, that was another thing that some people were debating as well, because currently there's, with exploit weakness in PvP settings, they like close quarters, but there's one ability that you're using for it. So I couldn't myself really give that a high rating. So, but Hydra and Sakaar both decent. With her ult, maybe New Stark, but I don't think so. Strange, Steampunk, I guess technically is God tier. I don't know a lot about his skills, but I know Mystic Arts is big, and that's the only one with Mystic Arts. Rise of the East is solid, but it needs some cooldown reduction if you're going to run it. And the only reason you put Eye of Osiris on him is if you're doing a support build. Hydra and Xanderth were the only 2 that would be considered something that would be like decent. The other ones up there, they were all meh. Just Dark Domain, Sakaar, Midgardia, meh. Obviously, you don't want to build up his ult, and a lot of these are shake out that way. Iron Man. So Eye of Osiris, they straight up said just do not do that. One of the specials, don't. Rise of the East is God tier. Steampunk is a maybe for PvE only. And really the only real good regional set they had on was Midgardia. So Hydra's not bad, which is a weapon card drive with defense pen. And you know, defense pen is a solid stat. So depending who you are, maybe rank that a little higher, but Xanderth was a maybe PvE. Don't touch Sakar for him. That's a Jarvis situation. Dark Domain is a meh. And then you can see, I'm going to skip New Stark City across the board from this point on. You don't want alt buildups. You used to for Magic, which I'll get to in a second, but it's basically just don'ts for everyone and some maybe PvEs for Savage Shadowlands. So Magic. So Steampunk is a god tier, pretty solid. Don't do Rise of the East. Eye of Osiris is meh. And then the regionals, Dark Domain and Midgardia, both they were sort of like, one was a little bit worse than the other. So, you know, Dark Domain was a little bit less meh-y, if you want to call it that. Sakar, don't do it. Hydra is what you're looking for at the moment for her. Again, it's still early on Magic, but Xanderth is solid. Now, what I want to talk about is New Stark City. It used to be amazing. The worst part about this is they sold a pack for it, and then they changed how it worked. Yikes, 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 yikes. That is not a good thing to do. So, yeah, Magic. All right, Spider-Man, a lot of people, a lot of Spideys, you know, don't love how he ended up shaking out. Eye of Osiris is still god tier. Rise of the East, don't do it. Steampunk's pretty good. Do not touch New Stark City, Hydra, and Dark Domain. Xanderth is still pretty good. That's the Spider Combat one. For real, still pretty good. Midgardia, I think I already... Oh, and then Sakar's solid. That's where this started, because I thought I was going to bring Sakar to Spider-Man, but it was like, it's just okay. And then Star-Lord here, I was shocked. Like, he doesn't have any god tier, but he has a lot of good sets here. Really good. And it really depends on what you want to do. That's a note I've got here. Depends what build you want. Like, do you want to do shock? Do you want to do flame? Do you want to do chill? You know, so it's like, this is one of the best. This is how it should look for like every character is they're all good. I need to pick my play style and I'm going to roll into that. But this play style over here is also good. And this set works. You know what I mean? And that way you just, you pick the play style and you go whatever direction you want. That's the right way to do those things. So yeah, he's really good across the board, but do note that, Dark Domain is mainly PvP and Midgardia is a PvP only. That was some notes that they were saying. Okay, duly noted. Don't touch Hydra or New Stark City. The specials, both Eye of Osiris and Steampunk are really good. You are not going to want to touch Rise of the East. Okay. And then Storm, God tier Steampunk, which is that lightning cloud atmosphere control. Solid was Eyes of Osiris, Mez, Rise of the East. And then the only real two good ones regional-wise were Hydra and Xanderth. Maybe Sakar, which is a deep freeze with the D-pen. Okay, but the rest were don't. Don't touch Dark Domain. Don't touch Sakar on her. And then obviously New Stark City and Savage Shadowlands. So let's zoom this out just a hair. See if I can get the whole thing on there for you. It's a little, it's not quite there. So, but you can, I'll check out Storm in a second. So you can find a good set for pretty much anyone in the game. I mean, it's pretty decent here. I mean, yeah, you've got Steampunk's God tier on 4. Rise of the East is God tier on at least 1, arguably 2 with Widow. Eyes of Osiris was really just a Spider-Man. There are no God tiers in the regional section, which is probably makes sense. There shouldn't be. You want the God tier to be in the special range. Captain Marvel, arguably Black Widow, and really Star-Lord were the only ones that really didn't have one clearly as God tier. But again, I think you could argue God tier for Rise of the East on Widow's pretty good. But yeah, I mean, like, so the only set that I'm seeing here, like New Stark City is really the only set that maybe doesn't work anywhere. Xanderth is, you got several characters. Hydra, you got several characters. Midgardia, you got a bunch. Sakar really just came down to 1 now. It's just sort of weird. And then Dark Domain has several. So, and if you're being limited with Dark Domain, you got a Dark Domain set because Captain America really only has, that's his best one. Now, granted, Midgardia is pretty decent. It's probably where you want to put your Dark Domain. Star-Lord's got a lot of different options. Captain Marvel is either Dark Domain or Midgardia. I don't know. I mean, it's so anyway, I hope this is helpful to you guys. Again, you know, I can maybe post this or something at some point, but like I said, I wanted you guys to be able to snap this. I mean, this is the zoom in version, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I wanted to put these out there. People are going to need to build up their squads. You're going to have gear sitting in the bank. It's like, put it on somebody. Might as well transmute it to somebody that you need. This is the ones that we think are going to be the best spots to put that gear. Where do you put that gear, right? So check out the Discord link in the description below. Hammer down like buttons, click notification bell, subscribe, all that sort of thing. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.